Friends, devotees, today, instead of our usual discourse on the yoga, we will try to understand the excellent personality Shankaracharya. In a very brief, because time is short, but before you start, let us chant the Shanti mantras of the Upanishad. It is not there, not mentioned there. I will recite and you please repeat along with me. Om Shahana Bhavatu Shahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinam Adhitamastu Mam Vidvishabhahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shamno Mitra Shambarunaha Shamno Bhavattaryama Shamno Indra Brihaspatihi Shamno Vishnu Rurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadisyami Ritam Vadiswami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmam Abatu Tad Bhaktaram Abatu Abatu Mam Abatu Bhaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bhadram Karnevi Srinuyama Deva Bhadram Pashe Maksha Bhiryayatraha Sthirai Angai Tushtubhagam Shastanubhihi Bashima Devahitam Yadayuhu. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. And this is Vedanta. Purnamada, Purna Idam, Purnat Purnamudachyate. And this Vedanta, what Sri Shankaracharya re-established in India. Why I am telling re-established? Because you know that another philosophical wave came in India, that is Buddhism. The Jainism were there, but it was not so strong, and the mass movement came in the time of Bhagavan Buddha. Because many of the kings supported Bhagavan Buddha, and his ideology, his philosophy spreaded, but after 500 years of Bhagavan Buddha. And that almost uprooted the idea of the Brahman and Vedanta. This Shankaracharya, he came and as a Shiva avatara, that is what they accept in that way, and re-established Vedanta. Today we will be observing this Shankaracharya, this celebration, by remembering him. This Shankaracharya, there's a lot of confusion about his life, but some of the things are accepted by everyone, like his birthplace, his father, his mother, and about his gurus, but about the date of his birth, confusion is there. When Shankara actually came. And this is the speciality, we can say, of India. Because the people, when they are there, they will never mention who he is, where he is, when he is, nothing they will mention. Why? Because we deny our this body. We don't like to preach about us. And we don't like that someone will preach about us. This is the problem. And that time of Shankaracharya, so they never recorded anything about him. So now this confusion is coming, and slowly, steadily, some of the things they have been accepted, that these are the works of Shankaracharya, and almost at this period he was there. They are gazing. We will try to get those things, but not very in details. Rather, we will try to discuss some of the philosophical points in next Saturday, the coming Saturday, at Hindu temple. They are also organizing Shankara Jayanti. Instead of discussing those things here, we will have the discussion over there, and we will have some of the wonderful works that Swami Shankaracharya did in his Vedantin ideology, at the same time devotional fervor. These two we will be chanting and try to understand Shankara. This Shankara, he was born in Kaladi, Kerala state of India, and by the side of Purna, the river, still it is there. I went there before coming over here. I went to Kaladi. This is a great place, and we have an ashrama, and the Shankara's ashrama also just next to us, adjacent, and the Purna river is still there. And he was born in a family of Namudri Brahmana. Here in America, you won't be able to understand what does it mean. The Namudri Brahmana means is a great thing. It's not ordinary Brahmana, Namudri Brahmana. That means everything of the scripture they will follow. I don't know at present day what, but in those days, Namudri Brahmana means they will be following everything meticulously. His father was Shiva Guru and mother was Arya. And these two couple, they perform all the injunctions that was prescribed by the Veda regularly. And what are those injunctions? As a householder, you are supposed to practice three types of fire, worship three types of fire. What are the three fires? Graha Pratyagni. Graha. And for that you have to offer the oblations and the mantras and the puja for Graha Shanti, as they call it. The first, all the householders, they will have the Graha Pratyagni, then Ahovani Agni, then they will be inviting Agni that disperse all darkness, and the fire that eats up all that is ordinary things. So as a Grihastha, that also they will be. Then Dakshina Agni, that is the blissful Agni. So these three Agni, every day they will be performing. And without the maintenance of these, a householder is not eligible to perform Vedic Yajna. So you can understand, the Vedic Yajna, those who used to perform the Vedic Yajnas, and particularly Namruddhi Brahmana of the Kerala, they used to perform these Yajnas. Even nowadays, there are some villages where they will be only speaking in Sanskrit. All the children and everyone, the whole villagers, they will be conversing in Sanskrit only. Because all other languages that has been created from Sanskrit, the most purest language is Sanskrit, and they call it Devabhasa, and that is the reason they will be only speaking in that. These Namruddhi Brahmins, they used to also, as a householder, they used to practice Pancha Mahayajnas. What are the Pancha Mahayajnas? First is Deva Yajna. You have to perform the pujas, and by that way you have to satisfy the devatas. Then Rishis, the learned people. Then Pitris, those who have passed away, all your ancestors, we can say, you have to remember them. The Deva Yajna, then Rishi Yajna. The Rishi Yajna means you have to perform in such a way so that all the respected people also get the benefit. How these yajnas? You have to send food to them, clothing to them, support to them, because these are the people, they are holding the morality, the knowledge. Without that, the human society will break down. Look at it, how the whole things were step by step they made it. First, Deva Yajna. In the Deva Yajna, you are propitiating the devatas, the gods, whom we don't know, but they are there, they are powerful. So we have to go and satisfy the devatas. After that, these rishis, because they are the repository of knowledge. Suppose the researchers, they don't get the support of the society, how the new things will come out? So in those days, they used to know it. And who will support? Grihasthas. As because the kings were not in that way organized. Kingdom and nowadays the state is looking after. But even though the state is looking after all these things, who are supporting you? Through taxes. You are paying the taxes, and with that taxes, the government, the state is supposed to take all these responsibilities. So the rishis, then pitris. If we forget our ancestors, then there is no root for us. Where from we have come? Who are the people supported us? How they came over here? So these ancestors are always respected. Then came men all around us. So many other people are there. They need our support, our help, our compassion. So you have to support them. That's called men and subhuman. The dogs, other animals, they need our support to survive. So this Pancha Mahayajna, every day one householder should perform, and there Shankara's parents meticulously they used to do that. The couple were very happy except for one thing. His father once commented to his mother, I have not seen the face of a son, the source of all happiness for men. Then his mother said, why don't you go and pray to Shiva? And then she quoted one incident from the Purana. If you go and practice austerity, then Shiva will surely bless you. And the father went to a Shiva temple and started practicing austerity. What is that austerity? The early morning getting up, bathing and taking the name of Shiva, going round the temple and without food. When the whole day passed, only once morsel of food you will take and then take rest in the night. Again the next day, next day, next day, it will continue. Oh Shiva, please come appear before me. Like this they will be praying. And Shiva did came, and his mother also went there to support her husband. Then the Shiva appeared before that father and said, I am pleased with you. I like to grant you, but one condition is there. Now listen to that condition and tell me what is your opinion. It's a very special condition. What is that? Shiva said, either an all-knowing and virtuous but short-lived son, or one who would live very long without any special greatness. What type of son you need? Now suppose the Shiva comes over here and asks you, how many of you will say the first one or second one? Mostly second. Let me, son, be with me. Let it not be so great. But his father said, no, I want that son who will be excellent. Maybe the short-lived. Shankara lived only 32 years. Vivekananda lived only 39 years. So this Shankara, in 32 years, he started his life mission in 8 years. And he practiced and afterwards propagated the Vedanta all over the India. And this, the Shiva Guru said, all-knowing, and his son was born, his name was Shankara. But when? This is the problem. The begins with this. When he was born, now the resourceful book we can say on which we can count, that is Madhava Vidyaranya's Shankara Digvijaya. This is a very famous book, Shankara Digvijaya. Madhava Vidyaranya. Here he is telling, refuting the way they said the Max Muller and the Radha Krishnan supported that Shankara must have been in 788 AD to 820 AD. 788 to 820, after death of the Christ. But this Madhava said, no, it cannot be. They are mixing with two Shankaras. One is Adi Shankara, another is Abhinava Shankara. Abhinava means modern Shankara. He was also a very famous sannyasin, and he also established Shankara Math. And he also was a great scholar and wrote many treatises. So maybe that these people, they are making a mistake. So mostly people, they made mistake with these two, Adi Shankara and this our Abhinava Shankara. Then they calculated in many ways, and T.S. Narayana Shastri, a very famous scholar, he has written a book, The Age of Shankara. There are so many researches, you will wonder, and there are nearly 12 names are there, Shankara Digvijaya. All the books are named as Shankara Digvijaya by great scholars. And that is the confusion. Everybody is writing in that way, and now there the T.S. Narayana Shastri, a great scholar, a professor, without going into the devotional way, he has calculated when Shankara can be. Then he is calculating that Shankara is refuting the Buddhism. So obviously he was after Buddha. And secondly, Shankara is debating with some other people when they were there. Shankara mentioned some of the cities. When he is mentioning, it is true, you must have to accept in this way that the city was there. So how these things? So this Shankara was, according to them, I am not going in all these details, the Kumaril Bhatta, Kalidasa, all they are mentioned in Shankara. Kumaril Bhatta, he had a debate. So then he is telling, it may be that he was in the 5th century BC or 1st century BC, before Christ. Then ultimately, it comes that after so much of argument, it comes like this, that all these complicated discussions of Shankara's date culminate only in a learned ignorance. We have to admit that we have no certain knowledge, and it is therefore wise not to dogmatic but to keep an open mind. Most probably, he must have lived somewhere between 5th and 7th century AD. Now, the Shankara, that was the contribution, the birth of Shankara. But it is true, the Shankara has contributed a great way. And it is also true that Shankara took sannyasa from Govindapada, whose guru was very famous Advaitin, Gaudapada. The Govindapada and Gaudapada, very famous names among the sannyasins. Because the Gaudapada, he was the ultimate of Advaita, and his teaching was, this world that you see, it is not existing at all. And he was in that condition, his mind was in that height, he said that this Jagat, this world that you are perceiving, it is a mistake. So that from that point, his disciple, that Govindapada, adjusted to some extent. Then his disciple Shankara, he made in a wonderful way all these things mixed up, because according to the condition of the human mind, ordinary people, they won't be able to understand this. The moment you say this Jagat, this world is illusory, when I was explaining the Vedanta, immediately at least 4 or 5 hands raised with the questions. I told, I have not completed. I am also doubtful about this. But the thing is, this is the truth, and right this moment we are not understanding, that is also true. This moment I am not understanding, this is truth. At the same time, ultimate truth, we have to understand that. When a small child, I saw so many little girls, they are carrying so carefully a doll. And she is talking with the doll constantly. And sometimes she is taking out some food and feeding the doll. And now she is taking care of the dress of the doll. When you are observing, how you will think? If you are not considering her as a small little girl, you will think this is a mad. Just playing like this. But no, for that little child is a totally living world. Now, if you forcefully take away the doll, she will never understand that this was really illusory. So, what you have to do, and slowly, slowly, you have to raise his mind. And when she is mature, understand this world, she will understand that is true. No elderly ladies will be playing with the dolls, I don't know. No one is playing with the dolls. How this can be? Because that acceptance, and now, right this moment, everything is so for us. This moment, this world is so much real. This plot of land is becoming like this. We have to purchase as quickly as possible. We have to do this, we have to do that. So many plannings we are going on doing. Then when the Shankara's guru will come and say, are you mad? What you are doing? Go and sit. Close your eye, meditate on your Atma. Now for me, that is a punishment. So why should I go and sit and meditate? It is not possible. So the level we have to understand. Shankara understood these levels slowly. And first and foremost thing that we find in the life of Shankaracharya, the constantly getting support of gods, that Shiva. He was the avatar of Shiva, and Shiva is coming, and what? Shankara was a very young man. He understood this thing intellectually. But when you are understanding intellectually, this is one thing. But when practicing in your life, that is totally different. The Shankara, he one day in Kashi, Kashi is the seat of learning, was the seat of learning. And everyone used to go over there. Even Bhagavan Buddha visited Kashi, and he had to spread, he had to have a dialogue, conversation with other Pandits to spread his opinion. And here the Shankara, he went refuting mainly about the Buddhism, and then he said that everything that you see is nothing but the consciousness. There is nothing except consciousness. And next morning, when he was going to take bath in the Ganga, you know the Kashi, very famous for narrow roads and lanes, we can say, very narrow. And moreover, there will be all huge bodied, the cows will be there, because people they go, and the Hindus they think, if you just release a cow, then you get lot of benefit, blessings from the God. And so many cows will be there, loitering. So these cows are also there. Anyway, I don't know the Shankara's time cows were there or not. When Shankara was going, he saw one lady is sitting with her dead husband. The husband died, and she was sitting over there. His head was on her lap, body was in a crossway. Either you have to go over that dead body, or you have to arrange some way so that you can pass. So Shankara asked that lady, will you please remove the dead body a little? I am going to bathe in the Ganga. And the lady said, why don't you ask the dead body to move a little? I can't do that. Shankara said, I have understood that because your husband has died, and this is a really painful thing, and you have lost your mental balance, and you are talking like this. How come dead body move out of itself? Then the lady said, but yesterday only you were talking about that everything is consciousness. That means inside the dead body also consciousness there. So why the dead body won't move? Ask him. Shankara immediately understood these arguments cannot be given by ordinary people. It must be a divine. So he immediately sat over there and started praying the goddess. Then he found that goddess Durga, and that is our Annapurna. And that dead body was Shiva. And he got up and said, what you are telling, you must practice also. And when you cannot practice it, how can you say it? Confusing every way among the ordinary people, you cannot do that. And again, Shankara learned from this way, from Shiva again, another thing. Shankara used to say that each and every soul is divine. And within us, that divinity is there. Again, in the morning, when he was going to bathe in the Ganga, he found that one Chandala is coming. Chandala means those who actually do the dead bodies burning and all sorts of this type of thing. So in the society they say that untouchables, you should not touch. Now the Chandala, usually they keep lot of the dogs also. So many dogs and the Chandala, and he is drunkard, he is coming this way, that way. Shankara was, that day he bathed and he was coming. And he said, hey Chandala, control your dogs. Why? They may touch me. Now what has happened if they touch you? What will happen? If the dog is touching me, again I have to go and bathe. Well, why? Because I will become impure. So what is impurity? Then that Chandala was having the argument. the dog's body is impure, your body is also impure. As a body, that is also impure. If the impurity goes and touches another impurity, what happens? Nothing. Now, if you say that you are pure, it is not your body, your soul. In that case, dog is also having a soul, and that is also pure. And if a pure soul touching another pure soul, nothing happens. Then why should I have to control the dog? Tell me first. Shankara understood he is not an ordinary person again. And he learned that we have to be very practical. Bhavadvaita, not kurjam. In this regularly, the practical life, we should not do that. Bhavadvaita, we know each soul is potentially divine. But that doesn't mean somebody has come and taking away all these things and we will go and say, oh, you are a God, you are taking away so nice. Shall I help you? We cannot behave like that. Because Bhava Advaita. I was traveling one day from one place I was coming. Sometimes the university students, they will be getting up. I think I was coming from Asansol to Calcutta, and from Durgapur and all other places, the outskirts of Calcutta, these places. The students, they will get in the train, and there's a lot of crowd, and they get down at that university, Bardhaman University. And students are like that only. They will be coming and asking other people, can you please make a room for us? And I was sitting like this because it was morning. I was sitting in a squatting way, almost covering the big place and meditating, trying to meditate. Then they were discussing, because of the sannyasi, they were hesitating to tell me anything. Then one boy, young man, he came and said, Swamiji, you people have given up everything. Why don't you give this seat to us? You are a renouncer, you have given everything. Why don't you give it? I told, Beta, I have given up everything except this seat. I won't give it. Till it reaches Calcutta, Howrah, I am not going to give it. After Howrah, you can sit. So, Bhavadvaita, not kurjam. Because you have to be very practical, or otherwise every time you will be like this. This Shankara, he has written a wonderful this poem, and that gives the Advaita. What is that? Now we will chant. Many of you are acquainted with this. Mano Buddha Hamkara Chittani Naham Nacha Shotra Juve Nacha Grana Netri Nacha Vyoma Bhumi Na Tejo Na Vayu. I am not the mind, I am not the ego, I am not the repository of all my impressions, chitta. I am not the sotra, the ear, I am not the tongue, I am not the nose, and all these indriyas, senses, I am not. I am not this earth, I am not this akasha, space. I am not the fire, I am not the air. Who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. That is the reality. We are Satchit Ananda Swarupa, Shiva. Shiva means knowledge. And with the knowledge comes peace. Why with the knowledge peace comes? This is spiritual knowledge, Atma Jnana. What is that Atma Jnana? I am pervading everything. When you think only one, and there is no competition, there is no fear. The moment you see two, immediately you think, oh, he may come or she may come and take away some portion from me, fear comes. And when you see everything is you only, there is no fear. Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Sat Chit Ananda is the epithet of the Brahman. na cha prana sango na vai pancha vayu na va sapta dhatu na va pancha kosha. Many of you know that when we are, this Hinduism, this Sanatana Dharma, this Vedic religion, it's a science. It's constantly examining. And when we see this body, we say the psychophysical being. We have a mind and we have this body. But those people, they said, no, this is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. This five says Pancha Kosha, covering. First, this body which survives with food. Without food, it cannot survive. And then comes the mind, this thinking, and wants to get the company, different type of thoughts. Then Buddhi, Mano Buddhi, all this. Nacha prana sango na vai pancha vayu. This pancha vayu, Bhyan, Udan, Saman, like this, there are five vayus are there. They are controlling our body. If there is no air inside our body, immediately the external pressure will kill us. That we knew that when we were in school science, ordinary, or they used to teach us, if you take out the air, immediately the external pressure that will make that container, break that container. So the vayus there, how many types of vayus? Pancha vayu, pran, apan, bhyan, udan, saman. Some other days we will be discussing about the yoga. Na cha prana sango na vai pancha vayu na va sapta dhatu na va pancha kosha na va pani pado na chopastha payu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham na me dvesha rago. Dvesha, desha means aversion. I don't like that person. I like this person. Dvesha, aversion. Raga, attachment. I don't like this thing. I like that thing. So dvesha and raga, that creates a lot of problem. And that's why you have to be always equal. Anyone comes before you, it's okay, no problem. So this is the thing, the tranquility of the mind. Na me dvesha rago, na me lobha moho, mada naiva me naiva, matsarya bhavaha, na dharmo na chartha, na kamo na moksha. Look at the word. I don't need the moksha even. How come? Then why we are coming over here in these temples and we are giving the donation, we are performing puja, we are doing these also. Why? For moksha only. But here Shankara said, no moksha, I don't want moksha. Why? I am already free. When you are already free, you are already mukta, then why should you think about the bandhan and moksha? Na dharma, I don't have any responsibility. Na cha artha, that you know that artha purushartha, 4 purushartha we are having. Na kamo, na moksha. Chidananda rupa. Shivoham, Shivoham. Na punnam, na papam. Na saukhyam, na dukhyam. I don't have purity, I don't have any impurity. Punya, papa. One person came to Dakshinesha and he was just like any beggar and madcap. All dots all over the body. People were very much afraid of him to go near. He came, he was eating, one dog was eating, he took out from that dog's mouth and ate that. And people are thinking, oh my God, what type of person he is. But when he went, but Sri Ramakrishna was observing. And he was asking another, the Shevak, he was always there nearby, let us go and see who this person, because he knew him. He could understand. And this person, when he went before that goddess Kali and said, Ma Kali, the whole temple trembled. Then Sri Ramakrishna pointed out, have you seen that? He's a Brahmagyani. Go, ask him some questions. But that person was so much afraid that I don't need to ask any question of him. Then he said, at least go from distance you ask, when shall I understand that I have realized Brahmagyana? He went Hridaya Ram, he went from distance and asked, Sir, when can I understand that I have got Brahmagyana? Immediately turned and said, when this water of that small dirty water and the Ganga water, you will think that this water and the Ganga water are same pure, then you have got the Brahmagyana. The purity everywhere equal. The moment anywhere there is a difference, you have not got the Brahmagyana. So this is telling that punyam na papam, na shokam na dukkam. I don't have the pleasure, I don't have the pain even. Na mantro na tirtham. I don't need to repeat the name of God. I don't need to visit the pilgrim center. Na Veda na yajna. I don't need to read the scripture. I don't need to perform any of. Why? This. Na punyam na papam. Na sukhyam na dukhyam. Na mantro na tirtham. Na Veda na yajna. Aham bhojanam naiva. Bhojam na bhokta. When I am going on eating, I am not eating. The Vyasa, who was a Brahmagyani, he was sitting by the side of the Yamuna. Then these Gopabalas, they were returning and they found there is no boat. Then they discussed, this old man has lot many miraculous power. Why don't you go and ask him to help us? The one went, Sir, can you please help us? And you have lot of miraculous power. So can you please ask the Yamuna to give us the path so that we can cross? We don't have boats. And he said, I think I can, but you have to feed me. Then whatever they were carrying, they gave to, and the old man went on eating, completed the whole thing. Then he went to the river and said, Oh Yamune, if I have not taken anything, give away for these people. They told, he has emptied all our vessels until telling that he has not eaten. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna was a very, used to eat just like the birds, very little he used to. Suddenly one day he said, I want to eat, I want to eat, give me these, give me whatever that was there, because there was no refrigerator or freezer. So that's why whatever they could protect, they brought it, went on. Ma Sarada Devi was concerned, what will happen? He is going on eating. Sri Ramakrishna didn't eat. So that is called, of course, when you go down this time for the lunch, the prasad, don't think in that way, because Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Name Mrityu Shanka Name Jati Vedaha Pita Naiva Me Naiva Mata Na Janma. After our sannyasa, we went to our President Swamiji, and one of our brothers, he was asking, Maharaj, you have got the sannyasa? So now I think we should not touch the feet of our parents, our father, our mother. We are sannyasins. Then the Maharaj said, have you become sannyasi? I am trying to be. I don't know. But if I get my mother, she has passed away long back. But if I can find, I will go and cry at her feet. You see what you will do. Then he was ashamed. Unless and until you feel in that way, you should not practice. When you feel, then there is no problem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had great respect for the father and the mother. And Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, who was always on that height, again, whenever his mother will call him, he will run to meet her. So this is the respect. But why it is telling, I don't have any father, I don't have any mother. If you go on constantly thinking about that, you cannot become a sannyasi. You cannot become a Vedantin. So some people will ask, Swamiji, where from you have come? And India. Oh, India, I know, I am also from India. From which part? I told, Acha, Hindi mein baat karne se hoga. Acha, you are from Delhi, I can understand. But no, your Hindi is some problem. Why you are researching on me? Why you are researching on me? Look at me that I am a sannyasi. But now I know you are sannyasi, you don't like to say all this. But where you got the education? And again, so these, sometimes some people, they are curious to know, it is not necessary. And sannyasis should not remember. Why? These are the things. Nan mrityu shanka, na jati veda. There is no jati. Whoever comes, whoever has taken the name of God, he is mine. So that should be the idea. In what language he speaks, what he eats, what type of culture, nothing. So this is the idea. And I remember these are the slokas that gives us tremendous impetus, When the underworld people, underground, they say, in Nagaland, many of you maybe who are keeping the information about India, in the northeastern part, the Nagas are very, very ferocious people. They are killing mercilessly and for money now. Then suddenly one phone call came at about 9 o'clock. I was in my office, closing the office, and they said, hey, I am so and so, and you come and tell me how much money you. I told, see, I have a lot of money, that's sure, because we are maintaining as a huge asrama. But this money is not my money. I am only the treasurer, but I cannot give a single farthing from here to you. You are talking with me like this, I can kill you, and I am already dead. You cannot kill me. You are already dead. What type of words you are using? I told, you won't understand, because this is the Dasanami Sampradaya Sannyasi. This is a long thing. If you someday come over here, I can have a long discussion about that. And he appreciated afterwards and never disturbed me. But anyway, I should tell you frankly, I was afraid. So that day, I really afraid, and then I prayed to Mother, please protect me, all these things that happened. Nami mrityu shanka, Nami jati bhedah, Pita naiva me naiva, Mata na janma, na bandhu na mitra, Guru naiva shishya, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. One disciple went to Janaka and he told, please teach me something about the spirituality. Please be my guru. Then Janaka said, this is the custom. You have to give something to your guru as an honor. Then he said, give me what you like to give as an honor to me. He said, after the Diksha I will give. No. After the Diksha, you may say, Name Guru, Name all these things. So, at that time I cannot claim. So, first you give, then I will give you the Diksha. So, this, the Guru, Bandhu, Mitra, I don't have. Why? I am the one, all pervading. And here, in a positive way, Shankara is concluding, Aham nirvikalpo, Nirakara rupo, Vibhutvacha sarvatra. How I can be everywhere? Vibhu. Vibhu, the word means in a subtle way. The subtle way I am everywhere. Vibhutvacha sarvatra. Sarvendriyanam Navasangatam Naiva muktirnamiya Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, 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 Shivoham. Sometimes some people will be asking, how can I control my anger? Then I usually say, always go on repeating Shivoham, Shivoham. The people always go on criticizing Shiva, and Shiva has no problem. Because Shiva knows what he is. Whatever you say in praise or in criticism, I don't bother. So always repeat. But this is the Shankara. When one sincerely read it and he is confused, then what will happen in my life? Shankara understood it afterwards. And slowly, slowly, he gave wonderful stotras for gods and goddesses. One stotra which is very famous about the Ganga, the divine river. Why divine river? Because both the banks of the river, the Ganga, right from Himalaya down to the plains, and both the banks, great rishis were there. They used to take that water for drinking, they used to bathing and to worship, and for thousands of years, it's not only a river or water, associated with holy thoughts. Here Shankara said, now let us sing this. Devi Shureshwari Bhagavati Gange, Tribhuvana Tarini Tarala Tarangi, Shankara Mouli Biharini Bimale, Mama Mati Rastam Tava Pada Kamale. भागीरथी सुखदायिनी माता, तब जल महिमा निगमे ख्यात, ना हम जाने तब महिमानम, पाहि कृपामयि मामज्ञानम। हरिपद पाद्य तरंगिनी गंगे, हिम विधु मुक्ता धबल तरंगे, दूरी कुरु मम दुष्कृति भारम, कुरु कृपया भव सागर पारम। In India, there are two sects, very popular and always fighting. One is Vaishnava, the Vishnu, another is Shaiva, the worshippers of Shiva. And Shankara brought both of them in one place. How? That this Ganga is coming from the feet of the Vishnu and at the same time from the head of the Shiva. So all these people, this respected Ganga, and because of these, all these years, it was a pure river. Though when we started telling people about the science, now it is so difficult. Tava jala amalam ena nipitam, param padam khalu tena grihitam, मातर गंगे त्वय्यो भक्त, किल तं द्रष्टुं नयमाशक्त। पतितोद्धारिणि जाह्नवी गंगे, खंडित गिरिवर मंडित भंगे, भीष्म जननी खलु मुनिवर कन्ये, पतित निवारिणि त्रिभुवन धन्ये। The last sloka, the 12th one. भो भुवनेश्वरी पुण्ये धन्ये, देवी द्रवमयी मुनिवर कन्ये, गंगास्तवमिव अमलं नित्यं, पठति नरो य सजयति सत्यम्। येषां हृदये गंगा भक्ति, तेषां भवति सदा सुखमुक्ति। मधुरा कन्या पंचटिबाभी, परमानंद कलित ललिताभी। The first sloka again. देवी सुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे, त्रिभुवन तारिणी तरल तरंगे, शंकर मौली बिहारिणी विमले, मम मतिरास्तां तव पद कमले। this is how Shankara, the highest Vedanti, and at the same time a great Bhakta. And his bhakti means searching for the Atman. His bhakti, and this philosophical discussion to some extent I will try to, I don't know how much time will be there at Hindu temple in coming Saturday. And first will be from 11:15 to 12:15. I will speak on the usual, the eternal India. Now I have reached the eternal India course on Upanishad. And after that, immediately, maybe after 10 minutes, I will be going to that Rakhi auditorium, and there Shankara's function will be there. But those people, lot of puja and all those things goes. Then after that, whether 5-10 minutes, whatever I will get, you will try to discuss about the philosophy of Shankaracharya. He refuted the Buddhism, and he refuted the others also, and re-established the pure Vedanta movement ideology. And without the Vedanta ideology, people can never be united, because it is only Vedanta, it teaches that we are one. This only I will just quote from Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, who has written a wonderful book, Indian Philosophy. There, when he is describing Shankaracharya, he is telling he is a philosopher and a poet. He is a great philosopher. And the philosophy, again and again I tell, because sometimes the philosophy means confusing. Only 3 questions the philosophy answer. 1, who is the creator? What is the creation? What is the relation between the creator and the creation? And that is the philosophy. And he, Shankaracharya, propounding from the point of view of the Vedanta, and he is a poet. He is a savant and a saint. He is a scholar. At the same time, there are so many scholars. He is a saint too. And he is a mystic and a religious reformer. And he reformed the whole thing. Dasanami Sampradaya and Chatur Math he established, and all those things. I don't think there's time, we are already late, and we will discuss afterwards. There have been few minds more universal than his. And so many people, they are speaking about Shankara. Some will be telling Shankara intellectual and debater. He was a great debater and also intellectual. Another sees a political genius binding the diverse people of India with a sense of unity. He traveled right from Gujarat to Assam, and from Bengal and from South India to Kashmir, everywhere. In those days, how they could do? But he has done it, and 4 mata he established, and a calm philosopher explaining life, Shankara, and the 4th, a mystic who realized Atman. Thank you very much. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Among this Thakur Ma Swamiji, the mother was a great lover of Ganga. Every day she used to look at Ganga, touch the water of Ganga. When she passed away, her temple, if you go to Belur Math, is very peculiar. Her temple is not facing the temple of Sri Ramakrishna, is facing the Ganga. She is sitting facing the Ganga, because thinking that the mother will be very happy to see the Ganga, she used to sit by the side of Ganga, constantly meditating. She was a great lover of the Ganga. But when I go to, I don't bathe. Now the water has become so much contaminated. Only touch.